Hi guys, this is Loai with you, and in this lecture we want to focus on importing movies. And this is the key of After Effects. You can import movies, add graphics to the movies, same you have done to images, and trim size and change the aspect of the movies. Now, how do we import movies? Same way as we imported images, we right click, go to import a file, and I have a couple of movies here we can import. Let's say we import this movie. And we have our movie here. Immediately we can look at the information. It is 7 seconds and 21 frames, and it's 29.97 frames per second. Now this information is important. You want to create your composition using this information. Either use the movies to create the new composition or create an identical composition. When you have movies and the size is okay with you, just click and drag to create a composition. So now you have a new composition. The movie is a layer like the images, and you have the composition name. You can rename it, says my movie, for example. You can come to the timeline and just preview your movie. Now, depending on your system and how much memory you have and the quality of your movie, this is a very short movie and the image here is moving very slightly. It has a purpose. I will show you something else. Fine, let's bring in a new movie, another movie. Let's bring in this one and we import. Now I have also 1920 by 1080. The previous one was the same. This is 29 frames per second and this one is 24 frames per second. Now, I'm gonna have a slight problem. If I put my composition at 24 frames, this one will have a problem. If I put it at 29 frames, this movie will have a problem. Nevertheless, these are short movies and you're not going to have a huge problem, mainly when you're doing motion graphics. But here we can add nice motion graphics, nice subtitles and so on, use it as a background. Let's take this one and we can also drop it above or under the previous movie, or just drop it in the timeline here. Decide at 2 seconds, for example, at 1 second. I can come and just drop it here. Of course, it's coming down. Let's move it up. So we play. And now, depending on your system that you've seen here, it will render and you can see your movies. If you scroll down your layer, you will see you have transform. And you can use the scale, the position, and the rotation and the opacity to animate your movie just like images. Let's take them both to the beginning and scale this at 50%, and scale the other one also here at 50%, for example. Now we have two movies. Let's put one on this corner and the other one on the other corner, for example, just to show you. Then you can select all your layer and trail them up and maybe watch all your movie using the preview. Depending on your system and the memory you have on your computer, it will run fast or slow. If you come to info here, you notice I'm running very slow here at 2 frames per second and it's not real time. But after it will render, it's running 2 movies now, it will be much faster. Let's try, see how. If you come to preview now, it will go fast and then it will slow down until it renders completely. Of course, I have several programs running here to be able to record. Let's create a simple animation now with the 2 movies. For example, I will open T for opacity. I will keyframe both of them in the beginning, make them 0 opacity, and I move this one here. At this point, we want this one, the opacity to become 100, for example, it will appear. And then this one, the opacity will come at 100 after some time, and it will cover the first movie, or it will appear after the second movie. Here you are. So you notice it's quite cool the way you can do animations with the movies. You could also move them around. Now let's look at what not to do. Let's stop here and click on the stopwatches to remove the movies. File. I will take that movie and make it transform, fit to comp, and it will fit entirely. If I come to the project panel and I double click, then you will notice that it will open in the footage panel. There are a lot of things that you can do in the footage panel. For example, trimming your movie, making it shorter. I will take the out point and put it here, or I can just press on the out point, put my timeline here and press on the out point, or come in the in point also and press the in point here. So this is about the footage panel. Now, you see, I shortened my movie. I will shorten it even more, but there is no change in the layer because I'm working in the footage. If I come back here, close my footage, take the new one from the main and put it up, you notice it's gonna be shorter, and still I can manipulate the time the way I want. Cool, let's delete this one. Another thing, if I come to the layer here and double click, now I am in the layer panel. Be careful, so if you get confused, go back to your composition panel, and here I can do the same. Also, I can manipulate the colors, and there are a few things like masks. We'll see in the next lecture how to do them. And here you can use the brush to do certain things. The brush will be here, but now the brush will appear at this time, not before. So you can add another time in the beginning here. Let's say we add something like this, and this is how we are going to work to create certain effects and certain, nice motion graphic on the movie. Notice here there is nothing, they appear and they will stay there until the other one appears. Okay, and there is a way to remove them. All this will be under effects and it's paint, and we can work on it later on in the advanced section of this course if you'd like to, of course. So now this is the layer panel. If you come back to your composition panel, you notice that all the changes you have done are there. You can see them happening. That is very useful. Let's take the eraser, for example. Press alternate and press Control and make it smaller. That's the paintbrush I'm using here. I will show you all this later on in the course. Just an overview now. What you can do, you can come here and start playing with them. You don't have to wait till the end of the course. So I erase some of my movie like this. Pretty cool, huh? I am working on an MP4 here, or yeah. And then I come back to my panel. Here is my movie. And what's beautiful about the effect here is I can work with the effects. You notice you have another option here, compositing options. And I take the effects that I entered and make them, take the opacity down or up. So I'm removing the opacity on the effect. So this is what you can do with the movies and the layer panel and the footage panel. Cool. So please remember, if you double click by mistake, you will come to footage. Remember to close it. Remember to close your layer panel if you double click, and stay in your composition. Thanks for listening. This is about movies, and in the next lecture, that's the most interesting. We're going to apply track matte and masks.